Hi, I'm Elise.
I'm Tabitha.
And together we have a website and Instagram called Cornerstone.lgbt, where we aim to educate and include LGBTQ plus people within the church.
So we're here today to tell you about 5 things that you can do to make your church more inclusive and welcoming, obviously, for the LGBTQ plus community. So at number 1, we have displays. So being an LGBTQ plus Christian is pretty tricky because obviously you have all the media and everything sort of telling you that you are unwelcome to some certain respects. So it's really important that if you want to make your church a welcoming place for everyone and all Christians, then having displays such as even like a small pride flag in a window, just the colours that can catch someone's eye tells you that immediately you are going to be accepted. Because otherwise it's really hard to feel comfortable and at home when you are uncertain of what your reception will be.
And so the second one is to try and use inclusive language. Now, this can take a bit of practice. I mess up sometimes, so don't worry, but it's just, so if you're talking to somebody and you're like, oh, hi Tabitha, do you have a husband? Tabitha might not have, that might make you feel uncomfortable. Because, so just make sure you're using inclusive language. If you don't know what somebody's gender is, then just use they, them, just to try and avoid any misgendering. And it just makes people feel, it just makes you feel welcome and at home.
Yeah, and also when you introduce yourself, just give someone your pronouns, just to make it a normal practice so that it doesn't have to be a novelty. Okay, so at number 3 we have education, which is basically, it's really important to try and go out, put yourself out there. If you are not part of the LGBTQ plus community, put yourself out there and have a go at educating yourself, even if that just means Googling what LGBTQ plus stands for, just because, if you have baseline knowledge, if you put the effort in, that's so important. Because as helpful as it's really helpful when someone speaks out who is a part of that community and helps educate other people, but it's not someone's responsibility just because they identify as a certain sexuality to tell you all about what their how they align their beliefs with Christian views, etc. It's really interesting to hear, but actually, that can be quite tiring to explain all the time. So, get online, get learning. Obviously, our website has we have posters, we have resources, we have a glossary with loads of different key terms that you can have a look at. So you can head over to www.cornerstone.com.lgbt and have a look at those if you're wondering.
Yeah, and so the 4th thing that you can do is celebrate with us. So June every single year is Pride Month, and that is a time where you'll probably see lots of Pride events happening, flags everywhere. There's flags that go up in Belper on King Street, and that's really good to see. And if you're around, it's nice to just come and join in. We're not going to turn you away because you're not part of the community. We try and make everybody feel as welcome as we can, and even if you're just there to learn or see what it's all about, then just come down, celebrate, and we'll be glad to have you.
And that leads us to with the 5th one, which is conversation. So as I said, it's not the job of people in the LGBTQ plus community to educate others around them necessarily. However, it's great that if you can get this conversation started in your church, because this shouldn't be a taboo subject. It shouldn't be, in hushed whispers or anything like that. People should be able to talk freely about their sexuality if that's what they want to do. So having, if you have someone who is LGBTQ plus and is happy to speak to a congregation, get them to do a talk, get them to run a session, or just have a discussion group about what everyone knows and where everyone's at with it, and how you can have a discussion about how you can make your church more welcoming, basically.
So that is our 5 top tips for making your church or your community space more accessible and welcoming to LGBTQ plus people. If you want to keep up with us, we have a blog that goes out on our website, which is www.cornerstone.lgbt, and you can also find us on Instagram at cornerstone.lgbt, and we will see you there.
Bye.